Today we are going to talk about methods, which is a very important topic of Python because till date we have discussed about various inbuilt functions such as print, id, type from the very beginning. Print, id, type, then we talked about input function, several other functions were there. But one thing that these functions are universal. These functions we have used many times, like we have used print function, id function, type function to check the data type. We have used type to check the memory address. We used id, and we have used anywhere like multiple times. But today we are also going to talk about methods which are quite similar to functions, but they are not universal. You cannot use anywhere in while working on the code. The significance of using methods are just belong to their class. So today onwards you will get a feel of why classes are important in basically object oriented programming, and that too in Python itself. So let me just take you through the theory of it first, and the code that we have already seen from the very beginning. So till now we have discussed about various data types. Now it's time to deep dive into each data type methods. So till now we have we have taken various examples of the data types. Like we were creating the string variables by writing name is equal to surname, and then we were printing the name and checking its data type. Like in this example, we are, first of all, let me clear the kernel and the output. So in the first example, we are writing a is equal to 10, and then we are printing a and checking its type also. So the output that we are getting is, it is printing first of all the value of a, which is 10, and then it is telling us the class of it. So if you remember from the second or third session, I mentioned that this is a very important a keyword that is there in Python. So at that point of time, I didn't focus on the keyword which is class, because I wanted to share this thing in today's session. So we just focused on the data type that we were printing and the value that it is giving. But today we will focus on this class, why it is printing it. So once we run type of a, it is showing us that this a variable belongs to class integer. It is very important to like understand why they are why they are specifically belong to a class. Similarly, if I print name is equal to Kashish and we are printing name and then checking its data type, so it will tell us that name is Kashish and then type of it is string. But it also says that it belongs to class str. So now let's read about its theory. Notice in two above cells that each variable belongs to specific class based on their values. So we are not telling Python that we should create this as integer and this should be a string. Python is automatically identifying that this variable belongs to class integer and this variable belongs to class string. Similarly, it happens for other data types as well, like tuple, list, and dictionary set. A class in Python consists of various methods or objects. I think we must know that all the classes that are there in every object-oriented programming consist of various methods and objects. So basically, we say that this variable name belongs to class str. So there are some methods that are associated with this class only. Similarly, if a is equal to 10 belongs to integer class, there are specific methods that belongs to integer class only. They are not overlapped. Basically, if we want to use the integer methods, they can only be used on integer variables. Similarly, if we want to use str methods, they can only be used for the str, basically string variables, because all the methods will be called from a specific class, and those methods only can be used with the respective data type variables. Methods can also be called as functions. So as I started with the introduction today, so functions were universal, but now talking about methods, since they belong to specific class, we cannot use anywhere in the program. However, the functionality that they perform is quite similar to the functions. Functions basically, as they can work anywhere, they were basically running on the variables that we created, but methods work on the manipulation of those variables. we will understand by taking the examples. And we have used these functions many times. All these functions are universal and can be independently used anywhere in the program. In other words, these functions are not tied to a specific data type or variables. This is like, you should keep this in mind, that all the functions like these are not associated with any class or any data type. Now, if I'm writing a is equal to Python and printing a, and then again I'm checking type of it, and then ID of it. By printing this, again we are getting that this belongs to class str. And now we can see in above cell that a belongs to class str. To perform any operation directly on variable values, now using methods, we will start working on manipulating variable values somehow. So value for variable a is Python. We will start manipulating these values using methods. We have to call methods from their respective class. Since a variable belongs to str class, we will call a method as per the needs or the requirements. We will manipulate these values. To apply any operation on strings, methods from str class have to be called. Similarly, to apply any operation on integers, methods from integer class have to be called. And likewise for other data types as well. Now we understand basic difference between methods and functions. Let us see some additional differences between them. So there are so many differences that are there between functions and method, and I try to explain like most of them. So as I've already told that a function is a block of code to carry out a specific task, and it will contain its own scope and is called by its name. So when we were using print function, that function was directly called and it was not dependent on anything. It was independent function that we were calling by specifying its name. So that was a user defined function, or it can be a inbuilt function like print, type, etc. Now all functions may contain zero or no arguments. Like if I talk about specific, we created various user defined functions where we were not defining any argument. So it depends if a function has an argument or not. On exit, a function can or cannot return one or more values. So as we know that we were using return statement with the user defined functions, so it depends on us if we want to return any value from a function or not. Built-in functions like these, as the name suggests, these functions come with the Python language. For example, help function is to ask for any help, max function is to get the maximum value, type function is to return the type of the object. And user defined functions, we have already seen what are they. And we, in the last session, we talked about anonymous functions, which are the lambda functions. So these statements are all for functions. Now let's talk about method, which is the topic for today. A method in Python is somewhat similar to function, except it is associated with specific class or the object. Methods in Python are very similar to functions, except for two major differences. Rather, there are some additional as well. The method is implicitly used for an object for which it is called. Like, you can just go with this theory, but I will explain in detail with the examples itself. The method is accessible to data that is contained within the class. As I've already told that we have to call the method from a specific class only. And unlike a function, methods are called on an object. Object can be like a variable of a class. Unlike method, which can alter the object state, this statement is important. Unlike method, which can alter the object state, like this is an object, like this variable a is equal to Python. We will change the state of this variable. Basically, we will manipulate this variable somehow. But Python functions doesn't do this and normally operates on it. So I hope that's like there is some idea. You have now some idea about the methods and functions and their differences. So any questions till now? Although this theory was quite boring, what I felt, but yeah, this is an important topic. That's why I'm asking. If there is any question, you can clear as of now. Otherwise, we can take it later.
Yeah, we'll see some examples on this.
Okay, sure. Okay, to view all the methods associated with a variable class, first of all, I am defining a variable which is name is equal to my name. Now I know that this is a string variable, so it will definitely belong to a string class. Let's also check the type of it. So it belongs to str, which means class str. If we use print, then it will show us that it belongs to class str. Okay. Now, since we know that it belongs to class str, which is a uh, like name variable. Now, to operate anything on this name variable, we have to write the variable name, which is name, and then you have to put a dot and press tab. I think you have not done it till now. You can see that kernel is processing. It is fetching out all the methods that are available. You can see we have now received a list of methods that are there for string class. Remember, this is just for string class. These methods cannot be used with any other kind of variables. Like these methods cannot be used for integer and list, tuple, other uh, data types as well. So all these methods, you can see there is a long list that is there. All these methods are used to manipulate the values of string variables. We will talk about these variables in detail later, but first of all, we will start with int methods. But this was just for the demonstration purposes, that we can fetch out all the complete list of methods by entering a dot and pressing tab. We will get a complete list. Now, proceeding further, first type of methods are int methods. I mean integer methods. I'm creating a variable by name of num is equal to 10. So 10 is the value for num, and I want to like perform something on num. I want to write num, which is the integer variable, and entering a dot, pressing tab. So these are some of the, there are only 8 methods, I think 9 methods that are there for integer class. That means all these 9 methods can only be operated on the integer variables itself. These cannot be used with any other um, data type. The first method that we are going to talk about is bit underscore length. If you remember, we used bitwise operator, or we learned bitwise operator while discussing on operators. So in that, we talked about how to convert a number into binary, and bitwise operators basically works on binary numbers itself. So bit length is used to count the length of binary numbers of an integer. Suppose there is a number, maybe 16. If we convert that into binary, it will give us the output. I'm not sure what is the binary of it. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. Suppose it has given me the output as 10001. So these are the 5 number of length for the binary values that we have received for number 16. So the bit length will return the length of the binary number. Basically, it will return 5 as the answer. Let's see what I'm talking about. Let us see the binary values of num. Ignore 0b in the output prefix, as it is representing it as binary number. Let's see. If I am converting the binary, if I'm converting this integer num into the binary, you can see I have used bin function to convert a number, basically integer, into binary form. And I'm saying that just ignore that 0b in the prefix, as it is just for representation purposes, that this is a binary form of any number. You have to just focus on the digits which are after 0b. So basically, these are the 4 digits 1010, which is a binary of number 10. Now, bit length is used to count the elements or the length of the binary number. So I am using num because I want to operate something on this variable, which is an integer variable, and dot bit underscore length. So it will find out the length of this number. So it is saying as 4 because we already know that the binary of it is 1010. So the length is 4. I think this is very simple. Alternatively, you can also call the method directly from a class. So class of it is integer. I already know that. So what I can do, I can directly call a bit length method from its class, which is integer. So I'm writing print int dot bit length, and inside bit length you can give a parameter, means the variable for which you want to find the bit length. So here we are calling the method from int class, but giving the variable as a parameter to the method. By running, you are getting the same output. You can use any of the syntax. The upper one looks easier to me, so I think this would be much helpful for you. But I wanted to show you that this also works if I am directly calling a method from that respective class.
Is it always same bit number for a particular number integer?
Yes, it is always same. You can maybe check on Google, just type convert number to binary and binary to number. You can see that for each
Mm.
number, always the binary number will be same. Even there are methods that I cannot explain right now. You can also calculate this binary number from on a copy and pen,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
And what's the application of this, like binary number and length of the binary? Anywhere in like
Um,
in your experience, have you used it?
I have not used it, but yes, these are very much used in cryptography, and if you go to deep learning, where somehow you can use
Okay.
it, or some advanced mathematical applications where you have to work on binaries, and then some huge calculations has to be computed. So
Okay.
I think there would be it would be used, but for like normal analytics work, it will not be used. Okay, so
Yeah.
next is 2 bytes. This is the another method which takes 3 arguments. One is the length, then byte order, and third is signed. It returns an array of bytes representing an integer if byte order is big, the most significant byte. So I will explain, I'm just ignoring this theory. So now we are saying that we have a number which is 16 and I want to convert it into bytes. I'm using, so just focus on the syntax. I'm giving it in the brackets and then I'm writing dot 2 bytes, and this is the length of byte I want as the output. Byte order is used to specify. So there are 2 arguments that it takes, basically 2 values for the byte order. One is big and one is little. Big is used if you want the output, like, let me just run it. You can see it is returning as the output as binary, not binary, it is returning as bytes. So we have specified the length as 3. So 16 can be represented by just this x 10. That is sufficient for representing 16. But since we have written to return the length as 3, it has included additional, like you can say, empty characters, which is x00 and x00. So this is the 3 length that can be delimited by a call, by a slash. So you can also ignore this by just mentioning the length as 1. So this output and the previous output is same. The difference is of just length. Even if I specify 5, you can see that the first 4 characters are just insignificant for us. Only the last value is making some value for us. And this is when we have used byte order is equal to big. But when we use byte order equal to little, this value, the last value, will be shifted in the beginning of it. All the uh, values after this will be insignificant for us. Let me write later.
Do we use this for encryption of passwords or something like that?
Yes, exactly. So bytes are very much used. If you want to like generate some Parquet files, JSON files from a string, basically, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then also you use bytes. Also, one
Mm-hmm.
more thing, if you want to upload something on clouds like AWS, Azure, then also through Python, then also we use bytes to export it as Parquet file or CSV file, something like that.
Got it. Got it. Thanks.
Yep. This is because some of the algorithms are there which are applied on clouds, which only accepts bytes or some other format as input. They do not accept some specific syntax like just strings or something like that. So that is there. For little, I'm saying that it will just turn this round. So the significant value will be given on the very beginning of the byte, and all the respective bytes will be insignificant for this output. We can again change the length. If I make it 15, all these value will not make any sense to us. This value is sufficient to represent 16. But if I change the value, maybe some bigger number, now you can see we are getting some odd output. And yeah, I don't know how to represent this, but this is how it works. Okay, so this is all about 2 bytes. There is one more parameter that it takes, which is signed is equal to false. Now suppose I am giving a negative number and I'm converting into 2 bytes, and we are giving the parameter as 4, where byte order is little, which means the significant value will be at the beginning. And we are writing signed is equal to true. Signed is equal to true means it will basically uh, convert these. I hope so. I have not used this sign parameter much, or even I have not used these uh, methods in my experience, because integer methods are very rarely used. For us, mostly list methods, dictionary methods, and string methods are used most of the times. Like 98% of the times we use these methods. But this is just for like your knowledge that these methods exist and how to use them. So maybe I'm not sure about this parameter, to be honest. You can check it on Google later. Coming to the third uh, method, which is from bytes, it also takes the same parameters. And now we are doing the other thing. Like we are now converting these bytes into the number, into the actual form. So what I'm writing, print int dot. Now I'm calling this method from the integer class. I'm writing from bytes, and I'm entering the bytes, which is for 16, I guess. Yes, it is for 16. And I want to convert it into a number. So that is also possible. We can write byte order equal to little, and the output is 16. If I write big here, let's see the output. You can see that what number it is returning us. So this is the, you can it is an important parameter like byte order. If you use it incorrectly, you will get some undesired results. Okay, but I would still say that don't focus much on integer methods because they are not very much used. But I will definitely focus on string methods, and I will try to explain very clearly because those methods are very important. Similarly, like integer methods, we also have float and complex methods. You can check that. Just write float dot and put press a tab. You will get all the float methods. These are some 8 methods, and for complex, I think we just have 3 methods. Press tab and 4 methods that are there for complex. Again, these are not much used, so I will like skip these. Coming to string methods, which is very important. Like 70 to 80% of time, you will end up using string methods only. So let's understand it clearly. So I'm defining a variable which is name, and it's all the methods for strings are very easy, unlike integer methods. So we are defining a variable name is equal to Python, and first method is capitalize. It will basically capitalize the first letter of the string. Rest all will be in smaller case. That's all. So we are writing name dot capitalize, and the okay, I have not executed. Yes, so output is the first character is capitalized, other characters are in lowercase. So this is what capitalize do. Second is lower. The lower method returns a string where all characters are lowercase, symbols are ignored. Now you can see that name has been converted to Python, like all the lowercase characters where name was T and H were in uppercase. So this is very simple method. But coming to casefold, which is an important method to understand, because sometimes interviewer asks the difference between lower method and casefold. If you know, then only you can tell, otherwise you cannot even guess what this method performs. If you see the output of casefold as well, you will get the same output like this. Even I can try in this cell itself. So case fold is also used to convert all the characters into lowercase. But let's see what is the difference. Case fold, and you can see the output is exactly same. So that's why it is an interesting question for the interviewers, like to gauge your knowledge if you know the difference or not. So case fold method returns a string where all the characters are in lowercase. This method is similar to the lower method, but the case fold method is stronger and more aggressive. These words are important because this method is very much stronger than the lower method, and it's aggressive. Aggressive means that it will convert more characters into lowercase, and we will find more matches when comparing two strings and both are converted using the case fold method. To take an example of case fold and to prove that this is much stronger than the lower method, I'm going to write name.casefold, and we are getting the same output like lower. But to test it that it is more stronger and aggressive, I'm taking a character which is in basically it's a string which is taken from German language. So as per the text, we can read it like der Flub, but you can see that this B is a special character. B is a special character, and actually when we convert this complete string into English language, it will be written as der Fluss. So B will be converted into double S. So the difference between lower and caseful method is lower cannot convert these special characters into like plain English language. However, casefold is aggressive and more stronger that it can also read special characters like even if it is written in German language, and it can convert those characters into English language as well. So this is the basic difference that is there between lower and casefold, and that this functionality makes casefold more stronger than the lower method. To take an example and show the difference, I have used this program. Like B is equivalent to SS in German, right? And if we print first string dot casefold, so first string is this, which includes the special character. First string dot casefold will be printed, and then we are checking if first string dot casefold is equal to second string dot casefold. That means if the first string is this, casefold will convert this into this form. And then we are checking if the output of the first string dot casefold is matching with the second string or not. If they are same, it will return the strings are equal. Otherwise, strings would not be equal. Similarly, using lower, I'm using the same thing. We are converting the first string, which contains the special character, and we are converting using lower method here. And then we are using same if else condition using lower methods. Now you can see that in the output, derfless is being returned by this statement, which is first string dot casefold. It has converted the character into double S, and also by using this if else condition, it is saying that the strings are indeed equal. However, using lower, you can see that it is not converting the character into double S. That's why it is saying that strings are not equal. So till now, any questions or any doubt on this method casefold?
No.
Okay. The next method is upper. So this is again very simple, but upper method is also aggressive. It can also convert the special characters into like German characters into English characters. So we are writing name is equal to Python, where all these characters except Y are in uppercase, sorry, lowercase. So it will be converted into upper. But as I said that this is also an aggressive method. So this will convert der flush. So this is working, and this is just like casefold, that it is aggressive and more stronger than the lower method.
How about other special characters like dollar symbol, at the rate, all those?
So basically I am referring to the special character, but it's not special character. This is the
Okay.
character
Yeah.
that is used in German.
Yeah. Okay.
My terminology is wrong here.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Okay, coming to the another method, which is split. This is very important method. And similarly, we have another method which is split lines. I can show you one example of that as well. But there are other methods as well for string. If I write name dot, you can see that there is a long list which definitely I cannot tell about, but I can quickly go through some of them. Like capitalize, we have already seen. Case fold, we have already done. Then talking about ends with basically checks the character if it is specifically ending with specific character or not. Suppose I want to check Python is a string, and if I want to check if it is ending with n or not, so of course it will return the answer as true. Similarly, we have starts with, which checks the start value of any string. Then find helps us to find out the position of specific characters in a string. Suppose I'm writing Python and using find, I can find out at which position t is coming in this string. And index is also same, but index returns the error if basically find give us the error if there is any syntax error. Otherwise, index return as the value as -1. And then some other methods like is alnum, basically it checks the alphanumeric. Is alpha checks the if the string contains all the alphabets or not. Then decimal digit checks the if in this string all numbers are the digits or not. So you can see that there are several methods which are very simple. Then coming to split and split lines, I'm going to talk about these. Otherwise, you can check on Google, and if you face any challenge with any of the method, you can definitely ask the question in the next session or maybe post in the WhatsApp group. I will definitely answer them.
This join is like append, right? Like
yes. Okay, coming to split method. Split method basically helps us to divide the string into multiple parts and append it into the list. So basically, if I'm writing string as this is Python session and using string dot split, and you have to specify a delimiter as well while using split. Like you have to tell Python using which delimiter you want to divide all the characters of the string. So here I want to separate out the characters by using a space. So that's why under the split parameter, I'm using a space as a parameter of it. And then I'm printing it. And then I'm writing L is equal to string dot split. So there are some specific list of delimiters which are by default with the split method. One of them is space. If I don't specify this delimiter as space, this will still work because split assumes that this is one of the by default delimiter that is there. So it will work as expected. You can see both of them are returning the correct output. I mean, same output. So what it has done, it has picked the first character, like separated by this space, and then second character, third, not the character, basically the words, and finally the fourth word. And it has appended all the words into a list. This is very much useful if you start working on some programs in Python, because most of the times, like personally, I use this split method very much to convert a string into a list. And similarly, if I use input function, input, enter your name, comma, gender, we are asking the user to input their name and gender. And with input function itself, I know that input function returns a string. So I am using dot split and I want to separate it by comma. I can also instruct the user that you have to enter the values separated by comma. And if I run this now, you can see we have to enter the name and gender. Suppose I'm entering ABC and gender is F. The output is a list which is done by the split method using a delimiter which is comma. And now we're getting the output in a list.
this is part of your questions which you have given actually. I was starting to solve this actually.
Okay.
Now.
I don't remember, but that's fine. Okay, next method I wanted to show.
Yep. Kashyap, 1 second. So in the previous example, I was expecting this L would give T, H, I separately, individually. No.
No, this will not work because there is no delimiter between T and H. So by default,
So
delimiters.
if a string is only just one word, then how does split work?
Split will not work. Then it will just give out the same output. If I write name is equal to Python in the quotes, and if I print name dot split, you can see that it is returning the complete word. For separating this out, you have to use for loop. You have to write for I in name and then append it in a list. That can work.
Okay.
Yep. And we have to rejoin since time is finished.
Yeah.
So let's rejoin and continue.
Okay.